the Evergreen Media Network Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Welcome to Silver Linings. I'm your host and sometimes co-host, Janine Barros. And today we are going to be discussing how to maintain your healthy wealth with Mike Conway from the Royal Fund Management. Mike's not just our guest today. You'll see Mike on occasion, approximately every 4 or 5 weeks, join me, and we'll be discussing exactly how to do what I just said, which is keep a healthy wealth. It's important, not just when we're young, but as we age as well. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce today Mike Conway. Hi, Mike. Thank you for
Janine,
joining us.
how are you? And thanks for that introduction. It's great.
I'm so happy that you're joining us, not just today, but in the future shows. Money is an extremely important topic to any household, whether you're a young and up-and-coming adult or if you're 70 and planning for the next 25 years ahead. Tell us a little bit about you and what got you into money and how long you've been working with that greenback.
Wow, I've been doing that for a long time, over 30 years actually. But the first 10 though is basically working with the military, as I flew fighter jets for 10 years, mainly in the Mediterranean, Middle East, that sort of thing.
Wow.
But I was kind of the squadron expert on finances, so everybody would come to me and ask me questions. So when I decided to leave the Air Force and start a practice with financial planning, it seemed to be the right way to go. So I really enjoy helping people, and what I am now is what's called a fiduciary. So that means I'm a non-commissioned advisor, and so my goal is strictly to help people and be in their best interest.
Now, when you say you're looking to help people, is that just the wealthy or is that everybody?
That's an excellent lead-in question. Thank you. Actually, when I first started, it was mainly the young people who were just coming out of either the academies or new little officers, butter bars, and they were just getting their first paychecks and what to do with them. And so what we would do is basically explain to them how to pay yourself first, put away a little bit of something for yourself first, and develop a lifestyle on what remains. And those people were very successful. If they kept that up to date, they would be very wealthy people right now. But as time went on and a lot of my people were getting older, then I wanted to help them in retirement. And so that's where I focus my energies now, is mainly older folks in the retirement. Some people who failed to plan to begin with now are trying to figure out how they can retire gracefully. And the ones who have put money away are obviously concerned about the markets.
The markets have been very interesting. They're impacting every household, as you've mentioned. We invest both at a young age in hopes to build retirement. Hopefully, most of us do. We attempt to. But sometimes the market fluctuates. And I know that, if it fluctuates too intensely, we have a huge loss to the average household income for their plan, or at least their planned income for their future. How does that look for somebody like you when you're managing portfolios for people that this is going to determine their future lifestyle and their quality of life? What's happened in the last few years to make people concerned, and how do you think that impacts the average household?
It's a big impact emotionally for a lot of people when they see the markets.
I felt that impact before.
Yeah, markets go up and everybody's happy. Markets go down. Our people are very sad. Two things drive the market, fear and greed. So we get very greedy when the markets go up, and we get very fearful when the markets go down. So typically what people do without any kind of professional guidance is they tend to get out in the lows and they get in the highs, which is exactly opposite what they should be doing. So working with a professional kind of gets that emotion out of the equation, if you will. And so an example, I'll throw out an example. Sometimes back in the day when people were shopping at Sears, they loved Sears. Sears was their go-to. I spend so much money at Sears. That's got to be a good stock to own. So sure enough, it was on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It was one of the main 30. And so what happened to Sears? Well, market went down. Sears went bankrupt. The markets came back, but Sears didn't. So a professional manager might be able to pick that out to say, hey, Sears might not be the best bet. Maybe we should just go over to Macy's or do something like that. Anyway, long story short is it takes a professional to actually understand the markets up and down and not just take little segments out of it and make decisions. So.
That's a really good point on why it's important to have a financial advisor. You don't have to have an existing large portfolio to reach out for somebody like you to help make that unbiased, unemotional investment on our part to help grow that. I think a lot of individuals believe that unless you're already touting a large amount of savings somewhere in some squirreled away savings account that you can play with in a portfolio for the market, you think that it's not an option for you. When in reality, we're seeing children that are taking their birthday monies and starting $500 portfolios and growing it long before, well, with their parents' help, obviously. So money is becoming a very smart matter for today's youth. But I think that individuals like myself have a little bit of a learning curve. I do recall the Sears debacle. My grandfather was so upset because exactly what you said. He loved Sears. He went to Sears we were guaranteed that if it was our birthday or Christmas, we were getting a gift from Sears. Yeah. So I felt that when you mentioned that because our family, we all understood that because when he lost a large chunk of money from his favorite store that was something for his future, we pretty much heard about it on a daily basis for a while.
Well, the thing there is obviously not to sell in the down markets, but you might need to reposition in the down market to what's going to come back better. And I want to talk about that a little bit later and how to recover from fluctuating markets. But the big thing is not to get panicked and sell when the markets go down. Realize that the market has always gone up. Now, you can go back to 1929. The market is much higher than it was then, right?
This is true. Yes, obviously.
I mean, you go to every single bear market we've had. You go to 2001, 2008. We're way higher than we were at the bottom of 2008. So if you can hang in there with some professional guidance, you're going to get better. It's just a matter of time. That brings into another sequence of what I call the sequence of return risk, which is if you have to use your money for income and the market's in a down market, that's another set of problems that we need to address. And a lot of it depends on what your goal is with your money and what your risk tolerance is with your money. Not so much how old you are, but more your risk tolerance and what your goals are.
So out of curiosity, you've heard the old adage about being the frog who doesn't leap from the pot before the boiling water gets to them. And back in 2008 and 2009, I personally felt like that frog. And my husband and I had squirreled away and we were thinking, oh, yay. And then the market had this downtrodden effect on the middle income individuals who were out there putting as max out into these 401s and these portfolios that were being managed by large management groups. And we didn't want to pull out. We didn't want to sell. We wanted to stick in there because if you got rid of it, if you sold it, you wouldn't be there for the rebound. How do we learn when is it wise to take a step back and maybe reevaluate? And is that one of the main reasons why we should be working with a financial advisor? Oh,
that is probably the most important reason. But the other thing is to just maybe understand there's a philosophy called or a strategy called dollar cost averaging, where when the markets are low and you buy into a low market, which is, again, go against the grain because people are fearful then. They're not putting it in, they're getting out. Right. But that's actually probably a good time to buy because now you're buying stocks at a low price. And then the markets go back up and your low price stock went up a lot. So it's kind of like I tell shoppers, and you're a shopper, I know that you are. Well, do you look for sales?
I do, but with my husband in retail over the years, I've kind of learned a little bit about the reality that not probably such a good deal after all.
Well, But the reality is that I know my wife is if it's not on BOGO, then she doesn't she doesn't buy it. So, but that's what we should do on the stock market too. Yeah, I mean, again, you have to be smart about it, and that's
a really valid point to look at it like that. That brings it back down to the simple household purchase perspective.
And the other thing that we do, at least at Royal Fund Management, is we generally have a safe money strategy and a risk money strategy. And the safe money strategy is pretty much bulletproof. And so that's where what I call predictable income, because when we retire, we can't really base our finances on a fluctuating market. If we need $4,000 a month income to maintain our lifestyle, we need $4,000, not $2,000 this month because the market's down. So
FP&L doesn't accept that payment?
No, they don't.
Darn.
So the point there is that you have to be able to have two different pots, if you will. The one that you can have predictable income, probably is not going to hit home runs. It's not going to gain a whole bunch, but it's not going to lose anything. And then you have the other money where you don't have to tap into in a down market and just let that one grow. And that works out best. They did a study, actually, School of Wharton did a study and showed that very example, 51% in safe money, 49% in risk-bearing monies, was the best way to maintain your money for your lifetime.
A lot of people equate the market as a form of gambling that's uncontrolled in that sense, that the behavior. But the reality is that when we're investing in the market, you're making an educated decision. And it's an extremely important decision that you're aware of how the market is fluctuating and how that might impact you. And if you can afford to take that hit temporarily or permanently, and understanding risk is the most important aspect for you to understand when investing that money. Like you said, you have to have two potential investment pots. You need to be able to know that this may potentially grow and this might be a potential loss, and not to put them all in one basket. That's what I'm hearing, right? Correct?
Yeah, well, it's just being able to be uncorrelated, if you will, in the marketplace, where when the Russians have their May Day and they goose step down the Red Square, and all the legs go up at one time, and they're correlated.
Okay.
So we don't want to be that way, because if we're correlated, when markets are down, then everything, all your stuff is down.
Together.
So we want to be uncorrelated. So we want to be that odd guy, with his goose step is in the wrong timing.
Well, if you have been planning and you are looking to diversify and secure some of your investments, Mike really has a must-listen webinar coming up on November 14th, which I think is next week. And it's going to be in mid-afternoon around 2:15. So if you're interested and you want to join with Mike and learn a little bit more about how you could grow your portfolio, reach out to Mike privately over at mike.conway@royalfundmanagement.com. Or better yet, go right to the seminar link, which is www.advancedinvestmentstrategies.com. And on that note, we're going to take a small break, have a message from some of our sponsors, and we'll come right back.
If you dream of creating a home with furniture where you make life one long weekend, visit Sunshine Furniture now and save 50% on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington during the fall savings event. Bedroom, living, and dining room, home office, media, and occasional furniture that is inviting and comfortable, Tommy Bahama and Lexington offer everything you need to furnish your Florida home. We're also having a huge half-price fall sale on lots of other coastal furniture by Universal, Hooker, Riverside, Seawinds, and Capri, including big sales on patio furniture by Berlin Gardens, Lloyd Flanders, Telescope, Kingsley Bait, and Windward. All pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price, and in-stock rugs are on sale too. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunShineFurnitureCasual.com and be sure to shop our outlet store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. sunshine.
Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Johnny Cash, and Carl Perkins. The $1 Million Quartet.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine.
Based on a true story, this show brings their extraordinary talents and personalities to life. The magic of the $1 Million Quartet. It's not just a show. It's the celebration of the music that defined a generation. Now playing at Vero's Riverside Theater through November 12th. Get your tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
Giddy up! Come on out to the Downtown Country Hoedown presented by Block and Scarpa. A big old party in Vero with live music by Nashville recording artist Thomas Tillman. Midway games, a mechanical bull, line dance, and beer food contest and prizes. Admission is free. Presented by Block and Scarpa Attorneys at Law. Treasure Coast Trees, GHO Homes, and Vero Beach Mitsubishi. Admission is free at the Downtown Country Hoedown. Black Friday, November 24th at 6 p.m. in downtown Vero Beach.
Hi, we're back. See, that was painless. Before we get started and go back to our conversation, I do want to say a special thank you to our guest sponsors, and that is the legal team over at Rooney & Rooney and the team over at Conway Financials. On that note, we're shifting back to Mike, and where we left off was really about risk, both risk as I might think of risk and risk as you oversight on a daily. And so tell me, what does risk mean to me as an investor, as a client, and risk mean to you, for you as an advisor?
Yeah, that's a good point. Risk to you as an investor is going to be all over the board. I mean, I've got people who have absolutely zero tolerance for risk and people who are 100% risk.
I'm a zero tolerance.
And that's important for me to know that, because I'm going to advise you on where I would put the money, where if it was me, where I would put the money, but I'm not you. I am me. And so I need to be conscious of what you want. And as a fiduciary, that's very important to me. Whereas maybe a commission broker, his judgment might be clouded by commissions, mine aren't. And so that changes the game quite a bit as to what percentages will be safe and what percentages will be, and what I call do not need now money. Do not need now money is money I know I'm going to need in the future. I know I'm going to retire, and I'm not going to have a job, and I need to still live. So this is money I'm going to want to depend on, but not right now. And so that might be more of the risk kind of money, but maybe not. I had a lady came in my office. She was worth about $20 million, but she had zero tolerance on risk. But you would think that lady it would be suitable for her to have, say, $1 million in the market, have 19 in the bank. Mm-hmm. But if you said that to her, her eyes would get big as saucers, and she said, no, I'm not risking a penny. So for her, any money in the market was not going to be good. So,
yeah, we all have our own version of too much.
Absolutely. So anyway, so the point is what's suitable, and that's where commission brokers are, and what is in the client's best interest, and that's where fiduciaries are.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's a
little
bit of a
insight
difference
there.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. I know most industries have multiple sectors that work within it, and there is usually some kind of designating factor that differentiates them. And I have heard and had conversations in reference to the difference between a broker and being a fiduciary on behalf of your clients. And I know we'll talk about that at another time, because that's a really deep subject as well.
Right.
So money. It is something that as we grow up, it is part of our daily conversations. Whether it's 10 cents for bubble gum at the convenience store from our mom's purse, then we're begging for, please, 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 or money coming in a birthday card from our grandparents, or money from babysitting or mowing yards. Very early on, we learn that money is absolutely pertinent for us to sustain any type of lifestyle. As a little kid, I thought $100 meant I was rich. And as a teenager, $1 million meant that I was a millionaire and that I had hit full success. But the reality is at my prime, beautiful age I am now, I have learned that $1 million needs to grow for it to actually be a successful measurement of your stability. as you age. $1 million at 70 doesn't quite go as far as if it had I been given it at 10. So I know those are intense conversations about how and what we do and when we can build it. But can you just touch base a little bit about the realities of how we spend a dollar as a young person versus the value of the dollar as somebody that is older?
Well, yeah, you make a very good point there. And how old are you? You're not going to tell, I get it.
I'm silver. I'm the age of silver.
So $1 million or $500,000, $1 million. I mean, what I tell people, really, do you really have $1 million? I mean, is it yours? What can you do with it? Well, are you going to go buy a boat? Buy an airplane? Go on an extended vacation? You really got to be careful what you're going to spend it on, right? Because that's probably going to be your source of income. That money is going to be put somewhere that's going to generate a lifestyle when you're stopped working. So you really don't have that money. So I used to think, well, gee, I have that kind of money. I'm going to get this beautiful yacht and cruise to Bahamas. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a good chance if you did that, then you wouldn't have an income. So that's so that is kind of puts that to rest on where that money needs to be and how it should be worked. And it's very important. In the beginning stages, building the $1 million, cutting grass, mowing lawns, and getting more money in, you have a job, you're working, you can pay the bills, things are going pretty well. But when you retire, you don't have a job anymore. So now whatever you've built, that needs to carry you through to, and I like to use age 100, and now we're even going past that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we want to have a very healthy, wealthy golden years. So.
Yeah, I know you're right. I work on the fringe of geriatric services, and I often see the reality of when they transition from their home environment, which they own outright, and they move into a community, and now they have a monthly fee that is allocated, and it's a pretty costly fee, far more costly than my mortgage. Many more things involved in it than just my mortgage, but costly. So it's almost like aging increases the necessity to spend that dollar. And so therefore you must spend additional dollars to cover your needs as a senior or a geriatric individual who is in a position to require additional assistance outside of an autonomous home environment.
Right. Well, I used to tell people, and I kind of got away from it, but it's still true. 30 years ago, I would tell folks that their light bill was going to be more than their mortgage. And sure enough, if you look at your light bill and what the mortgages were back then, it was about the same. Mm-hmm. And so they might not have a mortgage anymore, but they have a light bill.
Oh, my good gracious. I am so thankful for the insight that you are going to be bringing Silver Linings on a monthly basis. I know each month our topic will change. Some months will be about specific things that an individual household can do to better their environment. Sometimes it'll be for the purpose of a commercial environment. Can you give us an idea of what we'll talk to you about again in about 5 weeks when we see you again?
I really want to touch base on, there's a new legislation that's out, and the rest of the country's doing it. And it's called Secure Act 2.0. Mm-hmm. A very, very important thing for business owners to understand that they're going to have a retirement plan for their employees. That'll be automatic enrollment. They don't have to support it, but they have to have it. And that's going to be a buzzword. It is a buzzword for all the states except for Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama right now. But we're going to be there. So.
Well, we're going to learn a lot more about that in 5 weeks. I thank you for your time today, Mike. I appreciate it. I look forward to learning more about money with you. And I just want to say thank you for joining us on Silver Linings. And next week, we will be meeting and talking with the team at Rooney & Rooney as we learn a little bit of something about family law. Have a great day.